Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bob Bain, Joe Massey, 40 Years and 40 Beers podcast with our Easter episode. How is everybody today? Hopefully, everybody's having a great time. It's about to be Easter Sunday. The Lord is risen, if you believe in that sort of thing. How are you doing, Mass?
Good, man. Happy Easter. Something else looks like it's risen. What's going on your shoulder there?
So, there's nothing wrong in life, guys, with a little BYC. And if
Extra points if you could tell us what BYC stands for.
So I don't know if it'll be canceled out on the TikTok or so we all know about BBC, we know about BWC. This is a BYC. Look at this thing. This is something my kid picked up today.
Big yellow, yeah.
And I don't know about you guys if you can see this, but the texture and everything that happens is very similar to a certain appendage. So there's a lot of me that doesn't know if
Can you stop stroking it like that? Can we?
Well, I think that kind of adds to the context of what I'm trying to say, Mass. Like, do you see this thing? This is what they sell in kids' stores, Mass, for kids. What else is going on with you?
What are you drinking?
Because I got a lemonade vodka Surfside this week. Happy Easter. I'm down
going
the shore
old school
broadcasting
with the blue
live.
moon. Yeah, broadcasting live from down the shore. You're in the backyard. It looks nice over there.
Yeah, you know what? It ended up being a good thing. I thought that it was going to be a little bit too windy, but I don't feel like the microphone's picking up the wind a lot.
No, I mean, other than the backdrop, you can't tell that you're outside. Not at all.
No. I love the. Oh, I got to give my T-shirt today, by the way. I knew you would love this. So what does that look like? Whose tattoo?
Yeah, Thug Life, Pac.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is basically about how sports have transitioned to nothing but travel baseball, nothing but competitive sports, right? Basketball, football, whatever. And nobody plays rec ball anymore. Rec ball used to be the pinnacle of what would project you or propel you to playing better sports, right? Because all the kids in the neighborhood played. And if they were good, you had some kids who were better, some kids who weren't.
And they started to take school seriously.
But the teams were even.
Yeah.
Right? You would have 6 kids on each team that were really good, maybe 6 kids who were just learning the game. But we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from just everybody playing for their neighborhood team, all right, playing for their neighborhood, playing in their local little league, playing in their local Cal Ripken league, playing in their local basketball league, right? Everybody's playing AAU now at an older age. Well, I wanted to represent rec life because I think rec life is where we should get back to at a younger age.
Yes, but just keep it on a T-shirt. If I see it on your stomach, we're going to have to shut the podcast down.
So we actually, here's my, I would love to get it on my stomach, but we have a story from a really good friend of ours. We're not going to say his name. I think you just did, right?
No, I said pause. You said I would love to get it on my stomach. I said pause. Go ahead.
Love to get it on my stomach. But if you remember, we have a friend of ours, really good friend of ours for about 30 years, who at one point in his life went and got Italiano in Old English written on his stomach. If I remember the story correctly, he got up off the table after just the outline was done, and there was a puddle of sweat on the table, right?
Yeah.
That's how much pain it was. I also heard a story that he was just sitting there the whole time going, could you imagine? Like, are you constipated? Like,
between you moaning like that and the banana, cuz we're done already.
So, long story short, never went and got it colored in.
Yeah.
That's how much pain there was. Why would I get rec life put on my stomach at 43 years old? That's not enjoyable to me.
And you got to have a 6-pack to even start being able to handle something like that. You can't go regular.
Well, are we sure about that? Belly. Are we sure? I mean, maybe I would
imagine the stronger your core, the less pain. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Hey, if you don't mind, by the way, I want to introduce a very special guest for a quick 5-second appearance.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to the one
Chippy?
and only Chippy. The one and only Chippy. Do you guys see the mullet on this 10-year-old kid who was born in 2014? Show him.
Yeah. Look at him.
This is phenomenal. Chippy is a future criminal. All right,
handsome devil.
He's going to run cell block A. All right, look at the mullet. Look at this hair. How did he get this hair when his father looks like this?
I don't know, man. Keep it, dog. Do whatever you want with that hair until the day it disappears, cuz. God bless you.
Chippy, you want to say anything? That was all right. Thanks, buddy. Great job. All right, Chippy's officially in the atmosphere, right?
The Hall of Fame with the
whatever
dog.
They call it.
Yeah.
So what else has been going on?
Nothing much, man. Crazy week, and I'm knocking back these blue moons. I'm just trying to relax and have a conversation.
Well, that's what happens, right? Like, you know what's funny? Our whole life, we were always taught that if you sit at home and drink by yourself, you're an alcoholic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I got to tell you, Mess, I don't know if that's a true statement. Um, the older I get, I just don't need to be out as much, right? I don't need to socialize as much. I still love socializing, but when you work your ass off all week and you have your kids and you're running around with them, I feel like the backyard or the basement or the
Mhm.
man cave, so to speak, right? The man area is where you want to be. Even if you're by yourself, you pacify yourself with some cool thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
You ever hear that saying?
Yeah, no, but I like it. It's yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think it has. I think there's a lot of stuff like that that doesn't have the stigma that it did when our dads were our age or when when we were kids. But no, I don't think there's anything wrong with it either.
I saw some things this week, and it involves, and I don't even want to get into political stuff, but I feel like what's going on in the world, we have to talk about it, right? When you have a platform, you want to talk about what's going on in pop culture and the world and everything. So I saw a few things this week about women in on the Republican Party, right? How they're all like the Donald Trump era women,
Okay.
okay, so to speak. And good for them. I'm starting to actually like some things that he says, starting to understand where he's coming from. But that extreme right side kind of always tells you how to live, right? They're very
Yeah.
religious. They tell you how you should live your life. Oh, you're not married, you don't have kids, you're not living the right way. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So there's four Republican women who are very high up on in Trump's inner circle. Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Pam Biondi, and Christy Noem. All right. Pam Biondi hasn't been married. She got divorced, hasn't been married in like 10 years, 15 years. Lauren Boebert's divorced. Marjorie Taylor Greene's divorced. Christy Noem got caught having an affair with somebody from the Trump campaign. But then these women tell us how we should live our lives. Is this
Well,
not insane?
hold on now. Let's call a spade a spade. You remember how just like when Paulie says this life of ours isn't doesn't lend itself to being married and having a spouse.
Oh, no offense, but ask me, marriage and that thing don't jive.
I think it's the same thing for when you're at the top in politics. I think it's the same way. You are constantly on 24/7. You don't really have time for your marriage fails. You can't start a new relationship, etc., etc. You don't really have time for those things when you're sinking 60, 70 hours a week into your work. So I hear you.
You make a great point here. I'm listening to what you're saying.
The pot can't be calling the kettle black. That's where you're coming from. I get that, and that's still part of it for sure. You don't want to be a hypocrite regardless. I think that you're. It's like sometimes you ever tell your kids like do as I say, not as I do. I think it's that
Yes.
kind of a thing sometimes. Now, to be fair, that might not be okay 100% of the time when you're in politics and people are supposed to be following you and listening to you. But I think it's a little bit of that where it's the job. You know what I mean? And
It is. I hear
yeah.
what you're saying. It's there. She's representing, right, a party who believes in certain things. But again, isn't that where you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this is gaslighting, or
Yeah, yeah, no, right,
you're
right. It can be both things for sure. Absolutely.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
listen, do what you want, but don't sit there and tell me like, oh, you guys should be living this way and that way. And honey, you can't even keep a man.
Yeah.
You're telling us how to live, but you can't even keep a man. And then this other broad, Nancy Mace from South Carolina. Okay. She's obsessed. I would consider her far right. Maybe she's not, but I would
Okay.
consider her far right. She's obsessed with transgender culture and all that stuff. And you know what? People have very strong views on it, and everybody has the right to have those views. All right. I got to tell you something. When I look at this woman, I kind of feel like she's one of these people who is transgender and is so self loathing. Mass, have you seen this woman? Do me a favor. If you can, bring up a picture of Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, or do these two women have very similar qualities?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I see an Adam's apple there.
Again, this goes back to what we were just saying about the pot calling the kettle black. I realize that you aren't exposed to certain things. I realize you might not have the expertise, but oftentimes people don't get involved in something until it happens to them, right? Like you're not donating to the Cancer Society until somebody in your family gets cancer. You're not conscious of transgender rights until you've changed sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a little bit hypocrite or a little bit just this wasn't in my world until now, and now I care about it. Now I'm focused on it. Now I want to do something about it. But that's such a dicey subject, especially in a political role. You know
It
what I
is.
mean?
No, I
Yeah.
agree. But so I feel like some of these people sometimes in these, when they become advocates, right? Sometimes it's because they're actually the person they're advocating for.
Right.
Right. And they've been in the closet or shut in for so long. Right. And they don't want to come out. They don't want to express their feelings who they really are. But that's their way of being kind of self-deprecating, right? They're
Getting their point across.
yes,
Yeah.
they say, you know what, these transgender, these gays, whatever, oh, you know what, they're assholes, they're this. Meanwhile, the person saying that is gay all the
Yeah.
time or transgender all the time. No, this is going to be a real podcast. I may smoke cigarettes on this podcast, Mass.
Go ahead, do it. Do
How
it.
about
God
that?
bless you.
How about
Yeah.
that?
Why not? We're drinking.
You know what? Listen, the Cancer Association is wrong. Billy Bob, if you watch Landman, Billy Bob Thornton said it. Do you watch Landman?
No.
Okay. There's a scene where Billy Bob comes down into his kitchen and his lawyer, who he shares a house with, is eating like Pop Tarts or Cocoa Puffs, all that shit. And Billy Bob goes, you know what? That's just going to kill you. He goes, yeah, says the 2-pack-a-day smoker. Billy Bob says, you ever been to China? They got 90-year-old men smoking on filterless Pall Malls. He goes, Italy, people smoke till they're 90 years old. Want to hear something funny? Lung cancer isn't even the top 10 of their causes of death. All right. He's like, cigarettes don't kill you. It's all that processed shit and refined sugar and all that kills you. Think about that. He said about Italy, he goes, think about Italy. All they do is smoke cigarettes, eat pasta, drink wine, and fuck.
Yeah.
He said that in China and Japan, he goes, you got 90-year-old men smoking Pall Malls. They're in the park doing Tai Chi at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, they
right?
are.
It's because they're not eating the processed shit that we eat, Mass.
Wait, is this a current show?
The Landman's on Paramount. It's phenomenal. You'll love it.
It's an active show. It's on
It's
right
an
now.
active show. Well, the season's over. So, do you watch any Tyler Sheridan shows like Yellowstone or?
I just got Peacock. I did the pilot of Yellowstone. I'm halfway through. I fell asleep. I know it's like the Montana version of The Sopranos. I have to get started, but no, not yet.
So we talk about this all the time, right? With television shows that we like.
Yeah.
We all agree. I love The Sopranos. Sopranos and The Wire are 1 and 1A, right?
Yes.
They
yes,
have to be.
yes.
I mean, I don't think you can
A,
say
1B. Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
say one is better. You really can't.
They're two completely different things.
They are, but they're both riveting.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's no doubt.
There's 3 shows in my life that I couldn't wait to see every week, and I couldn't miss them. Sopranos, The Wire, and Lost.
Well, Game of Thrones isn't up there.
Well, no, because that was a time where you could DVR.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the whole difference. Like, The Wire came out at a time where if you didn't see it on Sunday night, and you're going to remember this. Remember back in the day when Comcast just came out with the digital cable? And you could go to on demand and look up series, right?
Yeah.
And Sopranos would be there, but it would only be 4 episodes.
Yeah.
For like 2 months.
Yep.
And then you'd always keep looking, and you get so excited when it would be
and then
like
the next 4 would kick over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
it would go 1 to 4, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, it says 5 to 8," and you would get so excited.
Yeah. No, I remember going to Poop's house. Well, his dad's Norm's house on Sunday nights to watch The Sopranos, like season 4, season 5.
See, I remember going to Norm's house at like 18, 19 years old to watch college football on Sundays and fucking gamble and try to figure out how I'm going to pay the bookie on
He had
Friday.
the ticket or whatever, right? The Sunday ticket.
So it used to be me, him, and Richie. I think you would be there sometimes. But dude, we were 18, 19 years old, had no money, and we'd be betting friggin', let me get a $200 reverse. If you lose, you owe $440.
Yeah.
And then
you don't have any of it.
No, you don't have any of it. So now it's 4:00 and you're like, let me get $1,000 teaser, trying to win more money. Next thing you know, you're down $1,600 going, all right, let me call the guy now so I'm not an asshole or a punk and go, hey, listen, I have to set up a payment plan with you.
We're going to be jammed up for a minute. Yeah. No, I would show up after Sunday dinner as that was winding down, and but I remember we would switch back and forth between Sopranos and whatever the night games were. You know what I mean?
No, and Sopranos were such an influential part of pop culture, right? Like, you think about it today, like, you still have commercials. You have
It's all over
Jamie
social
Lynn
media.
Jamie Lynn
Yeah.
Sigler and Robert Eiler, right? Is that his name? Robert
Yeah,
Eiler.
yeah.
And
They
Robert
have their
Eiler have a
podcast.
very successful podcast.
How about, I didn't watch a lot of it, but Talking Sopranos was a great concept. What
It
Michael
was with
Imperioli and
David
what's the name
Chase.
did? Yeah, no. You're thinking about Wise Guys. That was a documentary that came out recently. I'm talking about the Talking Sopranos podcast with Michael Imperioli and Steve Sharippa,
Oh no, that was great. That
where they
was
step
great.
through every episode. I didn't watch a lot of that, but it was a great idea, and it was a great way to breathe life back into it for another 80, 86 hours. You know what I mean? So what about Mobland? Uncle Dave said Mobland is great.
Mobland is incredible.
I haven't started
So
it
it's
yet.
all English.
But hold on.
Got it.
How can, as a man in that role, how can your wife run the family?
So
and you
that's
still
not
hold
so
your head up?
So Uncle Dave is leading you in the wrong direction. Yes, she's a matriarch.
He doesn't
right?
check in with her for every decision?
So no, I don't know that that's the case. In my opinion, that's not the case. She kind of inserts herself, and he does push back. He does say, "Listen, I'm the fucking Harrigan," because that's the name of the family, the Harrigans.
Okay.
Right? He'll say, "I'm Conrad Harrigan. I make the decisions." Yes, she does have some influence, but I don't know that that character, who's Helen Mirren, by the way, who is like 80 years old, who is one of the greatest actresses of our time. And Mass, I'm not ashamed to say it. At 80 years old, she still
Wow.
looks friggin' hot.
Yeah, God bless her.
Mass, she wore leather pants in the first episode.
That's awesome.
80 years old wearing leather pants.
Yeah, Uncle Dave was telling me
What
about,
did your 80-year-old grandmother look like? Was she wearing leather pants?
No,
Was she strutting around?
no. Levi's and a slightly oversized sweatshirt. That's what my grandmother rocks most of the time. She's still kicking at 90 something, 95, 6, 7.
No, but
I don't know.
Mobland, I think, is going to be the next big show. And you think Taylor Sheridan? Oh, this isn't Taylor Sheridan. This is actually Guy Ritchie from
There you
Snatch.
go. That's a whole different. Yeah.
Because I mean, Snatch was one of the
Rock and
biggest.
Roller. All of his movies were great. Yeah.
But think about it. Our teenage years. Remember when Snatch came out? I think
Yeah.
we quoted it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like we would
They're
watch it over
all
and
the
over.
Guy Ritchie movies were great.
They
Rock
were
and
Lock, Stock, and
Roller,
Two
Lock
Smoking
and Stock and
Barrels.
Two Smoking Barrels, all of them.
They were-
Didn't he just have he partnered with somebody on a series on Netflix that just dropped recently, no?
He may have. I'm not completely
Yeah.
sure about that.
Yeah.
All I know is this Mobland, the way it's filmed, the writing,
I don't
everything.
know if Pierce Brosnan can pull off a mobster though. I'm gonna have to watch it and get back to
So
you.
again, he's an English mobster.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I get
and
it.
that's
I
the
get
one
that.
thing.
He's
So
not
I
Italian.
watch.
I get
Do
that.
you watch Gangs of London?
No, I watched the pilot when he lit the cat on fire and dropped him off the roof and all.
Is that not one of the greatest first scenes in series history? It's close to Breaking Bad, Mass. Where
Yes.
when I put on
when he
Breaking
runs
Bad,
out with the tidy whiteys? Yeah.
The first 2 minutes you're sitting there and you're sitting in your chair watching, and you're like, "There's desert. What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
You're sitting there and you're like, "All right, here's this guy on the roof of a non-finished high rise."
I agree with you that that was a great opening scene, and it was dope to see
Let me get the Wreck Life T-shirt up.
him really do that, but that didn't keep me interested. I never came back after the pilot.
So do you have issues with the language? Because I know a lot of people. I'll give
Yeah.
you 2 examples. I have a friend of mine who won't watch Peaky Blinders, can't watch anything. He has a problem with the dialect.
Yeah,
I
a
understand
little
what he
bit,
says.
yeah.
I also think, listen, I'm 5 generations removed from the real Irish ancestry, right? But I wonder if part of it has to do with being Irish. And yes, if my kids walk in the room or like my wife wants to talk to me about something, excuse me, I have to turn it off and I have to be like, listen, I'm really sorry. I just have to listen to this because I have a hard time not understanding what they're saying as it is.
Yeah.
But if I really listen, I understand what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's a little bit of it. But I do agree. If you're part of the same culture as the characters on screen, you're more prone to be interested for sure, right? Like Jewish people are watching Steven Spielberg, Italians are watching Martin Scorsese, like for sure. That's a thing.
So I've been looking at this T-shirt the whole time. What is
Mine?
this? All I see is hip.
Dog. Hip hop. Oh, let me hold on. 90s hip hop.
So I can't believe that you're wearing that. So today I was lucky enough. This never happens. My wife and the kids came down the shore last night. So I slept in my my king bed.
You had the
by
house to
myself.
yourself last night, right?
By myself with both dogs.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
That's
It was like an ocean, Mass. It was like an ocean. There was nobody who could touch me. No matter how sprawled out they got, everything was fine. All right. So I'm driving down the shore today and I'm happy as hell. Nobody's in the car. Next thing you
Banging
know,
that gangster shit.
I'm like, because I went through the whole Nas greatest hits playlist.
Dog.
I always wondered in my life why people always said, you know what, Nas is top 2, Nas is top 3. Because in my life, I always thought, you know what, I don't know that he is. As I've gotten older and actually listened to the lyrics, listen to the delivery, listen to the things he talks about, he's very into like social issues, right? You don't
Yeah.
realize that. But he's also still into the street.
Yeah. He has a great mix of both.
He knows how to articulate both genres, so to speak, right? And he meshes them,
Yeah.
right? I'll tell you what, I don't know that Nas isn't the best lyricist
He's
that there
definitely
ever.
top 3. Like even Jay, I mean, everybody gives him his props. Who's the best MCs? Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas.
Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas.
It's funny that you bring up Nas because If I Ruled the World was the first hip hop song I ever heard in my life.
Well, you said that before. That's what made you love hip hop.
Yeah, If I Ruled the World. And especially in the video when he's got the little bit of affirmative action in the beginning and then he snaps his fingers and it changes. But I had to go back and listen to Woo and Rakim and everything that came before. But he's still, dog, he put out 3 albums last year.
Well,
he's still
think about
super active.
Think about affirmative action. Like, dude, that was what, 94, right? 95, 94, 95. He's like, sit back, relax, catch your contact, sip your cardiac. Nobody else was doing that
money through
at
this
that time.
country, man. Yeah.
Like, nobody else was doing that. And nobody else was also, I think at that time, The Firm, because that's The Firm. That's not even Nas. Affirmative action is The Firm.
No, affirmative action.
No, Foxy Brown's on it.
It's a song from It Was Written and because those 4 individuals were on it, that turned into The Firm.
Okay.
So I was just getting ready to say, it's a great connection. I was just getting ready to say that Nas was one of the first East Coast guys to really embrace Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre has songs on It Was Written and I believe some other albums as well. But there's a song where Nas raps as if he's a gun, and that's over a Dre beat.
Correction. I Gave You Power is the Gun song. That's not actually a Dre beat. 3 songs later, Nas Is Coming. That's the Dre record. It's the song right before Affirmative Action. I apologize. It was 30 years ago.
And then, so it was the people on Affirmative Action and Dre on that record. That's what came together to make the Firm album. Dre did all the beats on the Firm. Phone Tap,
really?
All that stuff. Yeah.
Phone Tap. I forgot about that.
Phone Tap is unbelievable.
So who's on Phone Tap from the Firm?
Phone Tap is just AZ and Nas, but it's got a Dre beat. This Esco, who this? You know what I mean? What's the deal?
Yes.
He just
now,
touched
what
grounds
happened
down
to
in
them?
Philly.
That's so crazy. What happened to AZ?
AZ is still, so Foxy had an accident and went deaf for a while. And then when she came back, her voice was different and it just wasn't the same. But
here's the thing though, it's harder for female rappers, right? Like, let's be frank. I hate to say it. Usually you're selling sex, right? You're rapping about sex. And unless you're just, who was the one female artist I respected more than anyone, and I don't even know if she's alive right now, was Rod Digger.
I think she's still alive. Yeah.
Like,
Rod Digger.
she was a lyricist.
From the Flipmode Squad.
Yes. And I think she was in 8 Mile. She was the girl at the lunch truck scene, I think.
I don't know about all that.
I'm pretty sure she was.
He was Exhibit was there. He was making fun of a gay guy.
No. Yeah, but remember there was a girl. She's like, she comes in. It's the girl, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll let homegirl finish you off."
Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe.
I think that's Rod Digger.
Yeah.
I think it is.
She's dope.
But she was never rapping about, like, she was rapping to rap. You know what I mean? Like, she talked about her upbringing, her life. Like, Lil' Kim, hey, listen, if she was a great lyricist.
Watch yourself.
The way she transitioned, all of the sex stuff. She was the pioneer, right?
Kim,
she was an entertainer.
Kim has bars though. She has bars though.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: do we know if she was writing her own stuff?
Well, I think she was writing. I definitely. So let's be honest. Biggie wrote all of Little Caesar's stuff. I think he wrote majority of Kim's stuff. But after he died, he couldn't do that anymore. She still put out crazy records after he died.
Yeah, but did somebody else come in? And again, Mass, it's all about, if you're a record company, right? You find a star who has appeal, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Like somebody who's good on stage. Somebody who's
Drake doesn't write his own stuff.
No, somebody who's going to be crazy and do the crazy sex stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
The bathing suit with the lollipop. That's an iconic picture.
If she already has a good flow, if she has a good delivery, but doesn't know how to write, your whole job then is to find a writer for her.
Yeah. Well, I
right?
mean, J wrote for Bleak, Big wrote for C's. It happens all the time. But I would like to think, and I did believe that Kim wrote her own stuff after Big Pass. But it's funny that we started talking about female rappers. So I'm reading here, Billboard on the 7th, there were 8 people who made this article, 5 men and 3 women from Billboard put together the top 25 female rappers of all time. Number 25 is Tierra Whack. I don't even know who that is. 24 is Doshi. I get that. I mean, she's dope, but she's brand new. 23 Gangsta Boo. 22 Lady of Rage. 21 Glorilla. She's
22
also,
Lady of Rage.
yeah.
So I
Well,
know
Afro
she.
Puffs was an
I know.
iconic record,
Well,
dog.
that's what I mean. I know she only had the one jam, but when you think about
Now she had a
female,
couple more.
yeah, but nothing that went even a
Hold on.
single. Probably not another gold single, right?
She was to Snoop what Kim was to Big.
I don't know about that,
Bottom
cuss.
line.
I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
about that, cuss. I
Number
don't know.
20. Number 20. She wasn't as good.
She
And she
wasn't.
wasn't around as long.
She
Just
wasn't.
had a song with Dog Pound. She's still making music.
Wait,
Kim was
wait.
better.
Let's go back. You're telling me Daz and Corrupt are still rapping?
Snoop bought back Death Row.
I knew that.
They
And
just
here's the
dropped
best
an
part.
album.
Did you hear what he
Dog
did?
Pound just dropped. Dog Pound just dropped an.
Did you hear what Snoop did with that? I'm not meaning to cut you off. Like where all the royalties go to the friggin' artist.
Yeah,
That's why
it's
he
awesome.
did it.
Yeah,
He,
God
like,
bless him.
I don't
That's a great
know.
move.
I don't know that there's a better. I loved him when I was 10 years old because he was this rapper and the shit he talked
World
about.
statesman. I don't
But
know what you would call him. Yeah, a gentleman.
Yes, he's a gentleman.
Yeah.
There's not one person who's ever come across him. I don't care who you are, your views, whatever. They all love him.
Yeah.
And
it's so hard to believe, 30 years ago he was wanted for murder and now look at him. You know what I mean? He's got cereal and cartoons. But
and
that's the story. That's what you want, right?
Yes. And the things he talks about too, where, he left death row, obviously, like he was in the throes of death row. And when you're just leaving prison and Suge Knight has your back and nobody else does, why wouldn't you be there? Like, I understand completely.
Now,
but then he goes to No Limit and he tells these stories about how Master P
changed his life.
Yes. Was like, what do you mean you're not getting money? Like, what do you want to be on this track? And he said he was broke. He's like, yeah, I said 15 and I'm thinking 1,500. And Master P's like 15,000? No, you deserve 35. And Snoop was like, what are you talking about? And that's when he was like, listen, we're going to get you a house in your name. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Like, you're the artist. Like, I
Snoop
deserve
used the words.
Yeah.
Master P
and that's
saved
what
my
that's
life.
what Master P figured out. He figured out he was the businessman. And if he has 20 artists who are successful and he's making 4% off of all of them, but they're making the other 96, everybody's happy, right?
Yeah,
they don't feel like they're taken advantage of. And that's one of the things in life today. Like, we don't realize that most things that happen to us are win-win situations.
Yeah.
So I'm in sales. All right. I always, once I get to that win-win, I close the deal because people remember that. Even if somebody decides to close with me, but they leave that deal and go, you know what? I feel like I got fucked. I know I closed it, but I'm never going back. Yeah. How is that beneficial?
That's bad. Yeah.
We need to get to a place where everybody views it that way. Let's have a win on both sides, right?
The whole time they're regretting it. They're never going to do it again. It just makes the rest of that engagement horrible. You know what I mean? So hold on. Let's go through this list real quick. Let's just
the girls. Good.
20 Moni Love, 19 Lotto, 18 Remy Ma, 17 Rhapsody, 16 Doja Cat, 15 Megan Thee Stallion, 14 Left Eye, 13 Trina, 12 The Brat, 11 Cardi B, 10 Foxy Brown, 9 Eve, 8 Roxanne Shante, 7 Salt and Pepper Together, 6 MC Light, 5 Queen Latifah, 4 Little Kim, 3 Lauryn Hill, 2 Missy Elliott, and 1 Nicki Minaj. I agree with number 1, Nicki.
So Eve needs to be way up there.
Yeah.
Eve shouldn't be 9. And I'm not saying that because we're from Philly. Like, Eve is one of the best female lyricists ever, and she wrote her own shit. And
I think Eve should be up there. I think Kim should be a little high, but I agree with Nicki at number 1. Nicki was on Monster with Jay and Kanye and put the both of them to shame.
No, Nicki,
you know what I mean?
She is sick. Now, what about Megan Thee Stallion, though?
She's great. She was number 15. She's great, but she's brand new relative to Queen Latifah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's also that Southern. She's from Houston, I think. So
yeah,
she's that Southern style of rap. Yeah,
I get it. You have to put Queen Latifah on the list, but Queen Latifah was not to female rap what Rakim was to male rap. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So what is it about Easter that you wanted to talk about?
All right, guys. So it's Easter Sunday. I'm down here with the shore at my family. Great thing for us is over the past 14 years, my father bought a place down the shore. We've always come down here for Easter. Before that, we never really had an Easter tradition. Any Easter tradition in your family? Like, did you guys ever do anything every Easter? Go out to lunch, like have an Easter egg hunt? So I have an older brother and sister, but they're 13 and 14 years older than me. So from the time I was like 9, 10 years old, I was pretty much an only child. So we stopped doing that stuff. My parents were kind of, I love them to death. I'm not belittling them or putting them down, but I don't blame them. I mean, by the time I was 10, 11 years old, they were kind of done. So what were your Easter traditions growing up?
Yeah, I mean, my mom and dad would hide eggs inside the house, and there would be like clues. So it was my brother and I. I can't remember if they did this before he was born, but we would wake up and there would be one obvious clue like on the couch, and it would just be a little note that said, Jeffrey, go look under the kitchen sink. And then he would look under the kitchen sink. There would be a plastic egg. He would open the egg. There would be note number 2, and it would say, go look under blah, blah, blah. And sometimes there would be a little gift, a little toy, a little Easter present with the egg. Sometimes there wouldn't be. So like if we found 10 eggs, we may have 4 or 5, little gifts. And then that would be Easter. Like it was like a mini Christmas to us. And my wife, she still makes it almost like, it's almost like Christmas, dog. We're spending
kids.
money. We're spending money for Easter. But we would do that, and then everything else would really just revolve around church and food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when I started dating April, her family is gigantic, so we did egg hunts with her kids, and even here we did it once or twice in the Newtown Square house we hosted. But her family is big on the egg hunt because even now, like Tori and Gregory have kids. You know what I mean? So there's always been a small group of children and enough of them to make an egg hunt make sense. So egg hunts were in both families, some way, shape, or form was always there. And then food in church, but nothing else besides that. What else would there be?
So what we do is, so when the kids were younger, we had the house down the shore, which is awesome. So they have egg hunts on the beach. So you would have to be a certain age. They have different like divisions. You have to stand in certain lines for each age.
That's cool.
And that's what we still do to this day. So the kids aren't on the board, don't go to the egg hunt now. But every Easter Saturday, so tomorrow we'll get up early, we'll go to the boardwalk. All right, we'll go at like 11, 12 o'clock. It's the first curlies.
That's early?
Right? First curlies of the season.
Yeah, nice.
First curly fries. First Sam's pizza. All right. I don't know about you, but I drench my curlies in vinegar. I drench them in vinegar.
No, get the hell out of here,
you
bro.
have to.
Come on, dog. I've never put vinegar on a French fry in my life.
You have to drench them. And then what we do is we usually go to a restaurant. Like, so this weekend's my sister's birthday is on Tuesday. So it kind of works out where like every couple years, either Easter is on my sister's birthday or Nick's birthday when it's early.
Yeah.
So we always have something to do. And here's the other thing. I had to ask you about this because you're Italian. Every year we go to my wife's nonna's. So she's my kid's great-grandmother, which is awesome that she's still around.
Yeah.
But I'm the one who's in charge of always cooking the steaks. So she puts her charcoal grill out for the steaks after eating 20 pounds of pasta between 5 people. But anyway, that's another story. She puts down like 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of charcoal and then puts twigs on top of the charcoal. Is this a thing?
No, not that I know of.
And then,
first of all,
hold on. So now I'm outside cooking 15 steaks at different temperatures on the charcoal grill with the twigs. Somebody wants it medium well, medium rare, well. You have any idea what kind of nonsense that is, trying to do that on a charcoal grill?
That's hard, dog.
And then you bring them all in, and one person eats a fucking steak because they're all full.
Yeah.
Why and this isn't like a judgment thing, this is a serious question. Why does the Italian culture believe in overcooking? And I understand the whole concept of more food is better, because the amount of food the Italians cook at a gathering is never going to be consumed.
No, it's the same. Well, so first of all, leftovers is a big thing. I can eat leftover salad with dressing on it.
So you don't like a crispy salad, is what you're saying?
No, I do. I love it the day of, but I put gravy on salad, so you can't.
Oh, Mass, this is another topic for another day. I told my son about this, and he wanted to fucking throw up.
I can't, Dog, I made a sandwich this afternoon, and my little cousin Jeremy almost threw up. But you can't go by me. I put gravy and cheese on salad.
You also
but,
eat the salad after the meal.
Yeah, for sure. And
with,
that's what
with
I'm
the
saying.
Gravy. So you're not cleaning your palate.
Your great grandmother is about to lose her card and her flag. No, most Italian women would never let an Irish guy cook.
Well, she's
On a
80-something
holiday.
years old, cousin. There's no other men in the family, and she's an immigrant. She
It
she
doesn't
immigrated
matter.
here.
It doesn't matter. But overcooking is a thing. April doesn't know how to make small meals. There's always leftovers. Even when it's a regular day and it's just the five of us, she can't cook for 2-3 people. You know what I'm saying? So
No, I agree.
it's just how it is. But leftovers is a big thing. We go when we were kids and there was a smaller amount of everybody. We would go the whole week between Christmas and New Year's. We would go back to my grandmother's house every night, and we would eat Christmas dinner for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, so I get that with the prime rib, and so that makes sense. You know what? It's
Yucky.
probably that makes sense. You know
Scuttle.
what? It's probably a saving money thing, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe buying in bulk, and then you feed yourself for the
only
week.
thing that doesn't exist is leftover bacon. But other than that, yeah, because that always gets eaten. There's no leftover bacon. But
No.
other than that,
have you ever heard the term
yucky, scuttle?
So there's only one phrase that a man has never said in his life. You know what it is?
No, what is it?
You can have my last piece of bacon.
You know, there's like a part at the corner of the house where the foundation is falling apart. And so we had a guy, he put, I don't know, some kind of crazy bit through the brick to catch on the other side. And then he covered it over with cement. And I have to put a picture up. The 2 pieces of cement that he covered, they look like breasts. And I'm like, texting him and I'm like, when you guys coming back out? Because they're also helping me with the back steps, which are done. But he's like, oh, we'll be out this day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you going to cover up the boobs? And he's like, yes, sir. And I'm like, something I never thought I'd have to say to another man, cover up the boobs. But yeah, it's other than bacon, leftovers are big. I do leftovers everything.
Hey, listen, I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. I had to come down and get something to drink, and the lights were out. And I'm walking through the house, and I can't see what's going on. And I bump into something, and I bumped into the friggin' bunny. I look at him, guys. He is so tall that his ears hit the ceiling and bend.
All right, Mo.
Thank you. I'm really sorry.
Happy Easter, cuz.
You as well, dude. Love you.
No, it's all good. Love you too. Bobby's son is here too. You want to say hi on
Right
camera?
side of the shoulder.
Here, come here. He's 10 years old too. Now he wants to see you on screen. Talking to the microphone. Don't break it. Yeah, talking to the microphone.
So Rocco, this is my son Chippy. He knows pretty much as much about football as you do. I'm really excited for you guys to meet. You have to ask Chippy some of the questions you asked me before.
I don't remember any.
Do you remember?
No.
If you don't, it's okay.
I don't.
What are you doing tonight, buddy?
Nothing.
So this is the first time that there's been 2 second generation 40 years and 40 beers podcast on the screen. So once me and Massey end up at the 70 or 80 years and 80 beers podcast, these 2 gentlemen are going to take over. What do you think about that, Christian? You want to be a podcaster?
I don't know. I tried it. I was thinking about it before with my other friend, but we didn't really think it was going to turn out that well. So we just didn't do it.
I said the 4 of us should do a podcast. There's no father and son podcast on the market right now, cuz. Can you hear me? I know you can. Can your dad hear me, Chip?
He said there's no father and son podcasts right now.
He's a great idea. Christian, thank you, buddy.